to the Ronline Report. Joining me today is a brand new IFBB Pro. Just earned his pro card back in September at a show I was at covering for MD, the IFBB North American in Pittsburgh. This is Robby Gould. Robby, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Ron. Appreciate it.
Now, we are going to get into your background in a little bit because, you know, everyone's got a story to tell, and I love having people tell their stories here so everyone can kind of relate to them and maybe even learn a few things and get some entertainment out of it. But the first reason you're here today is to rebut some things that were said by my last guest on the Ronline Report, young Boston Lloyd. So I'll let you lead. What are a couple things that Boston said that you wanted to address?
Honestly, a few of the things that he said, I didn't want. It's not me. Like, I don't have anything against Boston. I've never actually met him. Actually, congratulations to him and his wife on their newborn on the way in April. Luckily, they'll have an Aries, and that's what I am. So, I watched the interview, and when they were talking about, you can't hang with the top of the open class and go down to Masters. Look, I get it. I do. Unfortunately, I really worked my ass off that whole year, and I did 5 shows that year just to, 2 to a warm up at the East Coast, and then, the New England, and then over to those 3 shows. But the tough thing for me, I think, is that a lot of those guys that were in the Open, and I knew you were there, Ron, and I'm a realist. Nobody thinks their kid's ugly, obviously, but there were dudes in that top 5 that really had no business even being there. I mean, honestly, as far as condition-wise, I was standing on the side and I saw like some dudes with huge guts, which is part of the sport. Now I get it, and I'm not like one that, I keep mine as tight as I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one thing that me and Jose were like really conscious of, was just me trying to keep my stomach as small as possible. But, condition wise, I just was trying to bring the best condition that I have, and I did. And, it's just such a tough thing. I was sitting in the back, and, people that didn't even know that were there will pull you aside and been like, oh, how do you think, what do you think puts you so far in the second call out or whatever for the Open?
Yeah.
And honestly, it's one of those things with the judging. You can attest to this. You never know what they're looking for. Sometimes they're going for crazy conditioning, and sometimes they want the bigger, softer look. So you're kind of like going in there with an open mind, and have to just figure out, like, hey, wherever the cards fall today, they will. And I didn't feel that I obviously, again, nobody thinks that they get what they should have, but going in to the Masters class, it's not like you win your class there and then you get your pro card. Obviously you had to go into the overall and be in the top 3, but I just kind of, as a bodybuilder, there was guys in that open class that could have done the Masters also, and it's just for if they're presenting opportunities for you to turn pro,
right.
And is the idea to turn pro and compete at the next level? Absolutely. As a competitor, that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But what's better? He said, you're actually kind of, if you're like a middleweight or a bantamweight and you're turning pro, then you're killing your competitive, the ability to compete and continue on. In all reality, me as a competitor, I don't want to sit here every year and qualify regionally and then go to nationals and then get overlooked or, not be what they're looking for that year. So for me, honestly, it was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders because, I do live and breathe this sport and work a full-time job. I've, the things that I've lost, to get to this point has been, I can't even tell you,
right.
this show in particular, I lost my girl of 5 years.
Jeez, sorry.
I'm still dealing with that,
Wow.
So it's one of those things that, sorry, it's just a rough subject still, but it's just one of those things that, for you to be able to turn pro and not have to go deal with these regional shows and then, then go to the national and then stay nationally qualified, and then the weight is lifted off. So, now I can take my time and get bigger to compete at the next level. I mean, I'm sorry to be running this whole thing. I'm just kind of rambling on here.
No,
but
it's okay.
A lot of things come to mind. I mean, look at some of these guys that have won nationals in the top spot.
Right.
What have they done at the pro level? Some of them have done nothing also, have not even continued on and done anything with the sport even, you know what I mean?
Well, I think that goes back to a point he was making, and maybe he wasn't making it the right way. But here's how I would make the point is we have a lot more pro cards now than we ever did before. And, obviously these other divisions, they get so many more pro cards than bodybuilders do. But even in bodybuilding, there's a lot more pros being produced now than there were many years ago. So what you see is kind of a dilution of the ranks where if you won the Nationals 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was pretty much a given. You were going to be a very, very good pro. You'd probably be in the top 5 at the Olympia within a year or two. Whereas now, like you said, we got guys that they win the overall at the Nationals, and some of them, they're never going to be in the Olympia. They're certainly never going to be in the top 5 of the Olympia. So it's just I think that was a valid point, not expressed probably in the most the nicest way, but we don't have the quality of pros now because we have such a much greater quantity of pros. I mean, do you agree with that?
I do. I really do. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think them throwing a lot of these extra classes in too have it's like what is it for classic physique? What do you have to do to qualify for nationals? Is it top like 5? I think, or top 3. I don't even know what it is.
I couldn't tell you. Yeah.
But as far as the next level goes, as I told you in your interview, I would like to compete and see kind of where things go at the next level, at this level now. It's exciting, but I think the biggest thing for me that I took from it was I was actually shocked, and I followed John Ward, a lot on Instagram. He hasn't followed me back, John. I don't know why, man. But
damn it, John.
Damn it, John. Follow me. I like all your shit. So no, but I see someone like him who's been competing for a long time, and it's just like, why wouldn't he go into the Masters and give it a shot there? I mean, it's like if they present an opportunity for you to do it, and there's an avenue, it's like, why not take it? You know what I mean? And it was a little bit confusing to think about it afterwards. There were some guys that, you leave there with a pro card, and there were some guys that were in the Open that didn't. And I mean, it is what it is, Ron. It's you don't want to take any of the glory away from it, because again, it was as glorious of a day as it was for me. It was, recognizing the ramifications of, afterwards what I essentially didn't have anymore. It was kind of like, it was kind of humbling at the same time. But it's one of those things where the sport has definitely changed, and social media has changed it a lot. And I think where I'm going with this is that another statement that he made was like. People change their name to IFBB Pro like 2 seconds after they. And you know what? It's funny. It is funny because I was actually we walked across the street and we grabbed some sushi. And my buddy John Mahoney that drove out there with me, drove out there with me for 2 of those things, and, just hung there.
That's a long drive, by the way.
Yeah, it's my bro, dude. He's my bro. What up, John? So, it's we went across the street and we were eating sushi, and, he was like, I think he was more excited in the moment than I was, because, he's been following me through this for the last 12 years of competing. And he was like, "Oh, you're going to change your name and do all that stuff?" And I'm like, it hadn't really even crossed my mind at that moment yet. I was just still kind of just, taking it all in and just kind of in shock, really.
Right.
And so it was funny how he said, they haven't even taken a chance to enjoy a cheap meal or whatever. But, and that's just how it all played out. And the reason being is that now on social media, if you you got to take full advantage of that. My dogs are.
There's those great games you were telling me about.
You got to take full advantage of that, because now that's this day and age. Social media is king, and look at what he's done off of just social media himself. And I'm not trying to make this about me in Boston. I'm just touching on a few points that kind of struck home with me, because things have changed. But since I put my name up there, and since the name was changed, you get a ton of your social media, profile goes up. People start following more.
Right.
I've definitely gotten more clients for coaching and stuff like that.
Yep.
So it definitely makes you do use it, like you said, using it for yourself to market yourself, and these other companies that see you, these supplement companies, and I've gotten some messages from some other companies now, and it's like, it's kind of one of those things where if you don't do it, I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff, just like he said, and I've tried to maintain an open life on the social media, so people can see more kind of what it is like, whether you're interested in me or not or whatever.
Right.
But it's just, that's how it is now, man. Unfortunately, I never was big. My sponsor in Absolute Nutrition Center in Chicopee used to give me so much shit because I never put anything online. So it's like, now I do, and it's like you're damned if you do or you're damned if you don't. You can never win with certain people, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, like you said, it is a marketing tool, and it lends another level of credibility to a lot of people out there to see that in front of your name, even though, you and I both know there can be some 19-year-old girl out there who's been training for a few months, and she's just got her Bikini Pro card. So to me, IFBB Pro doesn't mean what it used to be when I was starting out back in the 1930s, 1940s, a long time ago. But you know what? Even for someone like me, it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't put another dime in my pocket to have that in front of my name. But you can bet your ass, if I got my Masters Pro card at a Masters show, I'd put that in front of my name. Boom! It wouldn't even be 10 minutes. It would be 5 minutes. I'd have that there because, like you said, you live and breathe this stuff. You put a lot of heart and soul and work, and you sacrifice a lot toward that goal. And let's start talking about you, Robby, because I don't know enough about you, and I don't think these people watching know enough. You're a big dude. You won your pro card weighing what, about 280, 285?
280, yeah. I was right at 280 for weigh-ins.
That's a super duper heavyweight.
Well, and that's the thing, Ron. It's like I eat 9 meals a day, and I'm consistent. I don't screw around. I don't have this whole crazy, lifestyle where I pick it up, and put it down. This is me 24/7. I mean, just like he said, it's been my goal. This has been my goal to get to this point. Win, lose, or draw. I've always kept a positive attitude and tried to just, push it as hard as I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's find out a little bit about you. What is your background? How did you get into bodybuilding?
Honestly, when I went to basic training, I hadn't even touched a weight or wasn't even interested in the gym until I joined the Army. I joined in 99, so I've been in for 18 years now. I'm still in. I'm active duty. And when I went to basic training, like you really exercise every day, and that's kind of what broke me out of my shell. It gives you that self-confidence, and you push yourself to, break down some walls and get out of your own comfort zone. So when I came back, I'll never forget it. I can tell you the guy's name too. No one on here will know, but I was down at a beach in Hadley, and this guy came across on a boat, and he was jacked. I mean, probably like 250 pounds, and he was like 5'5", and I was like, man, I want to look like that. How do I do it? And I'm in a small farm. I grew up on a farm my whole life. Dairy farm. You're doing chores before school and after school, and you go to school smelling like cow shit, and people pick on it. You know what I mean?
Well,
so,
I don't know what you mean, but it sounds terrible.
Well, right. So you can imagine being in high school now, smelling like cow shit. You'd have no friends. Mm-hmm. So
use a lot of Axe body spray. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Or you just get really, really big, so no one says shit to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So So basically, I lost my train of thought there. So, it was one of those things where I just wanted to find out where to go, and there were no gyms in my town really at the time. So I started driving to West Springfield, which out here in Western Mass is like, other than Montanari's, it's a really hardcore gym owned by Steve and Frank. So I would drive an hour there every day after school just to kind of hope to run into the biggest dude in the gym and kind of like watch what he did, because I had no idea what I was even doing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I did. I just drove out there and networked, and I started making friends. And then 2005 was my first show it was the Eastern States, and I was like 230 pounds.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I was like, I remember I was carb loading on like rice cakes, and I thought it was like the greatest thing on earth. But yeah, I mean, since then it's been the Army's always been my priority, because that you go away to school, they send you away for anywhere from 3 to 10 weeks, depending on what kind of classes you have or what your job is and stuff like that. And this one meant the most to me though, because I got selected to be a drill sergeant, and I want to say, I'm trying to remember now. It was 2.5 years ago, and that's a very challenging school, a lot of running, and I went to the school at 285 pounds.
Oof.
And we run, they run up to 5 miles every other day. And so for me, I had to really condition myself to run. And a lot of people don't recognize or understand how to have a solid career before you get into being a serious bodybuilder, because other than that, if you don't have that foundation, you're not going to be able to support it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So putting this first has definitely delayed my progress. So I've had to, going through that school I took a lot of time off from the gym. I couldn't train legs as much as I'm running, 3 or 4 times a week. And it just kicked my ass for, 12 weeks in South Carolina. And I came back home, and, I wanted to get back into it. So it was a lot getting myself back into that mind frame to be a competitor and to get the food going again. And, even though I was still getting 6-7 meals in a day at drill sergeant school somehow, but coming back from that and then hitting East Coast Cup, I kind of looked like kind of crap a little bit. I was soft, and then Jose brought me in to the New Englands, really, really good.
Yeah.
And then from there, we got in our minds to go do nationals and try Universe, and then it was just kind of from there. I had it in my head that that's what I wanted to do, and I just didn't quit. I just sucked it up all year long.
So have you worked as a drill instructor?
I still am.
Wow.
At if you join the Army, I work for the National Guard.
Yeah.
Our training site is in Reading at Camp Curtis Guild, right off the rotary there.
Yeah.
On 95. If you join the Guard, you're going to be coming to see me, and we work on all the drill and ceremony, marching and all kinds of different classes and physical training and stuff like that, for getting them ready to go to basic training. I'm not on the trail, as they call it.
Yeah.
If you're on the trail, that's what you do 24/7. So
Right.
Just being back here, getting them ready to go down there to get their ass kicked, and it's enough fun for now. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, because I'm thinking of, Full Metal Jacket, and, that kind of drill sergeant. He's living and breathing with the guys 24/7 for, is it 12 weeks basic training?
Army's 10, Marine Corps is, I think it's 13, 12 or 13. But they have, it's called, they spend 2 weeks in the pool. It's all very similar. Now, Army and the Marine Corps, it's pretty comparable. We just have different names for, our field training exercises, they're crucible. They just make it a little more, hardcore. There is a little bit, there's some variations in discipline, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Army and the Marine Corps are definitely the two most disciplined branches as far as that goes. I mean, all the other branches, that's not to take anything away from any of the other branches, because I love all my brothers and sisters in all the branches, and we're all one team regardless. But
Right.
that's really it.
So I recall from the North American, when we talked after your win, that your days were pretty grueling prepping for that show. Can you run down what a typical day in prep was like for you schedule-wise?
Yeah, that's why I still have some bags from that show. I mean, I don't sleep very much. You know, honestly, with my sleep apnea, I don't sleep very good anyways. But I would probably get up every morning around 6 o'clock. I would start my cardio. Just get right up, get down there, and start doing. I would send Jose my weight. Well, first I would get up, go upstairs, take my pictures. I'd send him 3 or 4 pictures. Then I'd go back down to the basement, do my cardio, and usually by the time I was doing my cardio, he would respond to me as what my meals were for that day.
Yeah.
So every day was different, believe it or not, whether it was a high day, a low day, or Jose is very involved, and that's why I think we learned so much about my body was the different changes every day. But so I'd get up off the cardio. The best would be sometimes I was like 10 minutes into the cardio and be like, no cardio time. Shut that thing right off and go right upstairs.
Yeah.
But put my meals together, and then I'd be right out on the road because I work in Boston. So it's about an hour and 30 minutes on a good day. And, I had to get out there early. So go through my normal routine for work, and then I'd either hit the gym in that area, which at the time I was trained at the Choice Fitness in Lowell. And right now, recently, I just started at Greater Boston. I want to check yours out, though.
Okay.
Jump in with you one of these times. But I've been at Greater Boston the last couple of weeks, and I really like it there. And then after that, I would, after my workout, shoot home, do whatever I had to do around the house, and then I do another cardio session down in my basement, usually around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, for another 30 to 50 minutes, depending on what he said.
Yeah.
And then like a rat race, man, right back into bed. And the saving grace, though, honestly, is the meal prep companies. Balance Amherst is a company out here. They do my food in bulk. I mean, they bring it right to my porch. I'd get home at like 11 o'clock at night, and the shit would be sitting there in a cooler. And I was just like, look at the sky and be like, thank you, God.
Because, think about it. You're working, you're commuting, you're training. When would you even have time to cook? That's 9 meals a day times 7. I don't know what 9 times 7 is, but it's a lot. Was it like 63 or something?
63, yeah.
Can you imagine? How would you cook 63 meals a week if you had to?
I've done it in the past, and it definitely beats you up. I mean, it's a saving grace, and they cook it exactly how I want. They pick I have a specific taste for fish, and they would go get whatever fish I had from the place. And, I can tell you I did not miss a meal I'm not even kidding you, Ron. Probably the whole prep, I don't think I even missed one meal.
Now, I saw you toward the start of your prep, and you were pretty lean, and I want to say, what were you, like 330 pounds, something like that?
The heaviest I got up to was like just a little over 3 1/4. And that it's not comfortable. It's not Craig Goliath status, but it's he's like 350. I don't even know how that dude breathes because I can't even put my socks on at 325.
How tall are you? You're at least 6'1", right?
Yeah, just a hair under 6'2".
Okay. So you're training, and people are going to want to know what type of training have you done over these years to build. Size-wise, you can hang with a lot of the pros right now for sure. So what have been the mainstays for you? What type of training? What exercises?
I've always kept the same split. I do 2 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off, and I just feel like for me and my schedule, that's always worked great. So I always train legs on Monday. I feel like right out of the gate, you got the most energy from the weekend, and I really just go and crush legs for a good hour and a half. And then Tuesday is always chest day. I mean, for legs, just to back up for legs, I always make sure that I do at least 5 exercises. Being tall, you have to prioritize legs because if you have no legs, then honestly, it's pointless to even go on stage. Even especially at the national or pro level, you're just gonna stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Even myself, I feel like my legs could be brought up significantly. So I tried to push those even more, but always leg extensions, leg curls, those kind of things, inners, abductors, warm up, and then I love squatting. Just love to squat, leg press, hack, lunge, and then any other thing I can think of just to get, depending on how you feel. You know, some days you can beat on them a little bit more, but Tuesday right into chest. I'm still an old school. I like the bench press. I like the incline dumbbell. I like the dumbbell fly, cable fly. You know, hammer strength, the usual. On my rest day, I like to do, usually it's like a low day for me. Wednesday, I don't really eat many carbs on the low day. I try and do a couple cardio sessions, at least one, depending on how lazy I've been for the week. But just to kind of keep that metabolism going, even in the the parts of the year when you're not competing. So Thursday is my next heaviest day is back, because it's again off of a rest day, and back to me is the most important. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I used to deadlift a lot, but I've had to stop just because of back pain. You know, as you get older.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Never thought I would say it, but I'd hear guys in the gym be like, "You're not going to be doing that when you're 40," and I'm like, "Yeah, right. I'm going to do this till I die." No, you're not.
Right.
So, you know, just a lot of rowing. I've really just done. If there's a different angle of row, 1-arm row, 2-arm row, you know, barbell, dumbbell. If there's a way to row it, I'm rowing it. You know, pullovers and stuff like that. But I mean, if you watch Ronnie Coleman Redemption video, I pretty much based everything off of what he did, because Ronnie was my man growing up. You know, I kind of modeled everything after him, and if I watched his video and he did it, I was doing it. So, you know, Friday shoulders, pretty simple, and Friday I usually do shoulders and hamstrings. I like to hit them again because my hamstrings definitely need to be brought up. And then Friday or Saturday is just arm day, and Sunday's a rest. So pretty simple. I mean, it's not like anything. I feel like a lot of times people make too much out of trying to have, you know, specific, these crazy different training methods. And in all reality, you can only pull or push something so many different ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, you know, I know it's not all about the weight, but I'm sure you move some pretty damn decent weights. A lot of people out there are going to be fascinated to hear some of this. So, can you just rattle off a few of the lifts that you've done over the past year in training? Yeah.
So as far as squatting goes, I have squatted in some shorts. I squatted 7 1/4. There's a YouTube video from some years back where I did 605 for 5, which is pretty comfortable. But I just like squatting heavy. I mean, 6 plates, 5 plates for a dozen, which, you know, just really having that weight on my back feels good. You know, as far as benching, I've benched 500 for 3-4 reps before. I think there's a YouTube video. If not, I'll find it and throw it on my wall. But typically now I don't go that heavy. I usually do like 405 on the flat bench. It's like the heaviest I'll go. I'll do that anywhere from, you know, some days 6, some days 12, depending on how you feel, you know what I mean, or how your chest feels.
Yeah.
Deadlifting, I've gotten 675 with no straps before, just playing around in the gym. So a lot of my friends are power lifters, so I'll watch them. I'll go to a powerlifting meet, and they'll do something crazy, and it fires me up, and I just like, man, I want to see how I can do, and then I'll, you know, the next couple of days I'll go give it hell. But you know, we all fire up each other, so
yeah.
I'm gonna keep pushing it as hard as I can. Deadlifting, I think the last time I deadlifted was probably about a month out from Universe, and it was like, I think I did 6 plates for 6 reps. But even then I was like, is this really necessary right now at this point? You know
right.
What I mean?
Right. So, you know, how old are you now? 35, 36?
37.
37? Just a kid. So, you know, you mentioned your back. I mean, is everything, it's hard to imagine your joints are pain-free. Do you have any aches, pains that you have to deal with on a regular basis?
Actually, surprisingly, knock on wood, I do see a chiropractor, not as regularly as I like to, but the only thing that really bothers me on a day-to-day basis, I have some tendonitis in my left elbow, which don't ever get cortisone shots for any of you that watch. I had a Motrin shot once, but big problems with people I know that have gotten cortisone shots. But a little bit of lower back pain, but I think that's just because I'm literally the least flexible person on earth, and the guy that does my stretching for me, he tells me that I have like no flexibility. So a lot of that's just due to like tightness. But the biggest challenge that I just overcome was I had a lot of, I think it was from adjusting from doing all that running, being a drill sergeant, to back to training heavy, was just my IT bands just would just not, always tight and painful. So been doing a lot of FST stretching at the Mobility Project, and that's helped out significantly. I haven't been squatting without any leg pain the last month. And as far as the back goes, I think just, again, stretching and it's just, you take it day by day. You know, some weeks it feels great, and then other weeks you just don't squat 6 plates, you squat 4. You know what I mean?
4 is good. So, you know, you also, we haven't talked at all about it, but something else you did was very physically taxing, at least I imagine it had to be, was you were a professional wrestler for a little while there. So how did you get into pro wrestling, and how long were you doing that?
I was at a wrestling show, actually, and this guy, Ox Baker, you know, rest in peace.
Oh, yeah.
He was a legend back in the day, if you remember.
Escape from New York, him and Kurt Russell.
Yeah, Ox Baker.
Yeah.
He just passed a couple of years ago, but he came up to me, this big haggard old man, and he was just like started talking about his wrestling school, and he gave me this like soft handshake, and was, you know, he brought me out to this school, and the next thing you know, I got a mask on my face, and I'm in a ring just clotheslining people. So I did that for about a year, and it just the amount of traveling that I did and time on the road, and it's not a lot of money. Right. You know, some of these guys are wrestling for $20-$30. I mean, some of them pay to wrestle. You know what I mean?
Wow.
You know, and I would go out as far as, you know, Jersey and stuff like that, and Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and you know, you'd wrestle for a couple $100, and you'd like be sitting in the back and you're like, I only got $200, and this kid's like, I paid $100 to wrestle. Well, I don't know what happened, but that's too bad.
I mean, it looks really fun. Is it fun to do that or not?
It's fun, but it all depends on who you work with, because some of the guys that you wrestle with, you know, they tell you going into the match if you're going to, you know, if you're going to win or if you're going to lose and how you're going to do it. So you have to put a match together. And some people just aren't open-minded, and they don't want to go over a certain way. So they'll really kind of, sometimes you'll get into some real fights in that ring, man, and people don't even really know. But it is fun. It is fun if you got somebody that understands wrestling and understands that you're putting on a show and it's not about you, it's about the show. Yeah. So I just ran into a lot of it where I just kind of, my heart was still in bodybuilding, and I couldn't train how I wanted to train because I was always sore. I mean, your back is always sore, your knees, your hips, you're getting slammed and hit in the face with shit all the time, and people, it's a lot of work, man. Those pro wrestlers, the WWE guys, they are super athletes. They make it look easy, but I mean, those guys deserve a lot of credit because they are what they do. Yeah. They make it look so easy, but that is a rough life, man.
I mean, I've talked to a few of them, and you know, I'm always impressed because these are big dudes. These are guys your size or even bigger. They're jumping off ropes, they're jumping out of the ring, they're all these acrobatic moves. I mean, I'm always impressed, and they don't do that. They do that, you know, 5-6 nights a week. Yeah,
and you know, a lot of them come out of the NFL Combine too.
I bet.
A lot of them come out of there, and they're super athletes, man, super athletes.
Now, your main character was a masked wrestler. What were you named? El Muerte or something?
No, it was Mega Muerte.
Mega Muerte.
A luchador from Juarez, Mexico.
Did you have to speak at all or no?
A little bit. We were trying to be kind of like Kane, but the whole thing was they put a mask on me because so many indie wrestlers ruin their image before they even get to the big show. So the fact that I had a mask on, if things went well and either Vince or one of the Guerreros wanted to pull me down, that I could take the mask off and basically I'm a new person like I've never seen before. Right. So that was kind of the idea, but they did actually, TNA stole my character. It was funny that I sent them some, they got some of my videos and my pictures, and I know this because this kid that I used to wrestle with from New York, the Big O, he was down there actually wrestling, and he's called me. He's like, I shit you not, on the computer screen at Guerrero's desk he said, you know this guy? And he's like, that was your picture right there. And I was like, wow. Oh, shit. And then like a couple weeks later, they had that big bodybuilder from Europe. I forget his name. 6'6" guy. They had him in my freaking outfit, dude. It was funny.
Was that Morgan Ass, the guy from France?
No. I want to
else?
say, oh God, I can't remember. He actually had a haircut, kind of like he had like the spiked hair, and he was pretty ripped. I mean, he was in great shape. He just, damn, I saw him at the, I can't even remember his name. Damn it, bothered me.
I'll figure it out. But let's get back to the bodybuilding career. You know, you did all those shows. You had a long year, a lot of months in prep. So, you know, what's the game plan now? Have you had time to sort of rest or recuperate and sort of put a game plan together for where you go next?
Well, I haven't talked really to Jose since he's been back from Kuwait. I'm just moving because my phone's dying, but I got to plug it in. I haven't really talked to Jose since he's been back from Kuwait, but we were going to talk about either, you know, doing something, but like either the New York Pro or the Tampa, but New York's way too soon. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I've really got my mindset on taking this whole year off now, just because of everything that's happened in my personal life. You know, I feel like I just got to really straighten some things out, you know, and just get myself into a little bit more of a sound position before I jump right back into the fire. You know what I mean? Because I don't like to do anything half-assed. It's either all or nothing. So I don't want to start something then come up with all these excuses at the end, you know, as to why. Oh, well, I couldn't do this, or you know, all these. I just don't want to be that guy, you know.
Yeah. Well, I want to give a little shout out here to Jose. I mean, what's it been like working with him? How did you first get? I'm sure you've known him a while before you started working with him as a client. So, you know, what's it like being coached by Jose for shows?
Jose is just. I mean, I can't say enough about him, man. Honestly, he's a total professional. He's a realist, so you're not going to get anything sugar-coated, that's for sure. And he doesn't really set you up with anything that you can't handle. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not a dictatorship until the very end. You know? But I mean, like I said, he's very involved. I mean, I was getting my meals every day. You know, it would change.
Yeah.
So he's very motivating, very inspiring. You know, obviously, you know, the things that he says to you, you know, you could be having a shitty day. I remember one morning, it was about a month out from North Americans, and it was just kind of a rough week for me. Work week, personal life was kind of just things going on in my personal life with my girl, and it just was bad. And I woke up to a text from him. He was like, I just want to say how proud of you I am for you being able to hold this condition for all this time. He said it's not easy. And that's when I just got out of bed, man. I ran to the damn treadmill and I, you know, got fired up to do my cardio. But that was a long year, dude. That was a long year.
Well, what was the first show? April?
No, I did. It was, what was it? August? Last August, I did the East Coast Cup.
Yeah.
It was kind of like just to kind of get back in the rhythm and see kind of, you know, what I could do. And then I went to New England.
That's November.
And then took a little bit of time over the holidays, and then we went to Team U.
July.
Team U was Masters,
yep.
And then North Americans. So.
Yeah. Wow. So it was pretty much a year and a month with a little break in there. Basically.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, God love you, man. God love you. That's a lot of prep. Cool.
As long as somebody did, because I took I mean, it's tough. It's a tough on your personal life doing that much stuff, that many shows, you know?
Yeah. I can imagine, man. So, yeah. You know, I thought you looked amazing in North America. It was a very well-earned victory. I'm glad you finally got the reward for all these years you've been killing it in the gym and with the diet and the preps and all that. It's a lot of work for people that have never done it. It's kind of hard to comprehend. So, props to you, bro. Props to you.
Appreciate it, Ron. Thanks.
Thanks for coming on. I wanted to give you the chance to do a little rebuttal, and also want people to know a little bit about you because, you know, you're a hard-working guy. You've been putting the work in for years. I've been watching you. it's about time you start getting a little recognition.
And again, I just I didn't want to I didn't want to make this all about the whole Boston thing. Again, I don't me, Ron. I'm not a shit talker, but I'm definitely I definitely wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I tell people exactly how it is. And I do wish him the best with his child on the way, and I just wanted to kind of at least have a chance to say something back. That was all.
Cool. Well, I'm glad we had the chance to talk today. So, guys, follow the progress of new IFBB Pro Robby Gould. What's your Instagram, Robby, so people can follow along there?
Well, it's Robby_Gould. Now, yes, Boston _IFBB Pro.
So, Robby, so say it all again with the proper things. I want people to get this right.
It's Robby with a Y _Gould _IFBB Pro.
Cool, because I know you do put a lot of cool stuff on there, the training and whatnot. So it's definitely worth checking out, everybody. So
absolutely.
Thanks for being part of this today for the Ronline Report. This has been Robby Gould with me, Ron Harris.